with Q&A, then they can actually ask questions. They can ask questions and help me to answer. Thank you, Prof.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, it's 2 p.m. and thank you everyone for joining our APSCE webinar today. So a very good afternoon. So it's a great pleasure to welcome all of you to our Asia Pacific Society for Computers in Education webinar. We are so glad to have you with us and thank you so much for taking the time to join us. So please allow me to introduce today's webinar title. It's on human-centric pedagogy for collaboration in the AI era. And our speaker today, we have Associate Professor Thomas Chu from the Chinese University of Hong Kong. And I'll be the moderator for today's section. My name is Priscilla Moses, and I'm from the University Tunku Abdul Rahman, Malaysia. And this webinar is curated by APSCE AI in Education, Intelligent Tutoring Systems, Adaptive Learning Systems, Special Interest Group. So we also have a feedback survey at the end of the section. So please kindly help us to fill in the feedback survey. So without further ado, please allow me to introduce our distinguished speaker, Associate Professor Dr. Thomas Chu from the Department of Curriculum and Instruction. His research focuses on AI in education, STEM or mathematics education, educational policy, and teacher education, with a current focus on AI-enhanced learning, teaching and training, as well as digital well-being. To advance his research studies, he has secured over USD 33.4 million in funding through collaborations with local, regional, and international partners. And something very special I would say about Prof. Chu is internationally recognized for his outstanding scholarly contributions. Since 2022, he has been named among Stanford's University's top 2% most cited scientists, achieving an impressive 20th place ranking in the field in 2025. He has also received numerous prestigious awards, including the Research Excellence Award from the Chinese University of Hong Kong. In addition to his research achievements, Prof. Chu is the editor-in-chief of Interactive Learning Environments, which is a leading Q1 journal in educational technology, indexed in SSCI and Web of Science. His work has made a significant impact on the international research community. According to the Google Scholar, he has accumulated more than 23,000 citations, and in Scopus, he has over 11,000 citations. Very impressive, Prof. So we are truly honored to have you today with us. And without further ado, it is my great pleasure to invite Professor Chu to deliver the talk. Professor, the floor is all yours. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Priscilla. So hello, everyone. Let me share my screen first. So this is a topic that I would like to share. Actually, I tell you a little background of myself. My background is mathematics and engineering. So actually, I develop application, and then when Priscilla invited me to give a talk, I was thinking, oh, what kind of topic that should I go for? Should I go for adaptive learning system, or should I go for ITS? Because actually I developed for my master degree, I can do that. But I thought that I chose something different because I want to look at this issue from a human-centric pedagogy. Myself, because of AI in education, in the AI era, I think it's very important. Even though you're doing ITS or adaptive learning system, I can talk about a little bit, which is a very different perspective now with the AI. So my background is, I think you just know that, and other than the ILE, I'm also associate editor of another 4 journal. I think they're Q1. Other than myself, I just want to give you a little bit work of what I did before. CHK, we developed a AI curriculum for Hong Kong. So actually in Hong Kong, we have a curriculum is endorsed by the government. And also other than AI curriculum, other than Chinese University, I'm also a co-founder of a edtech company called FutureLog. I will talk a little bit why I picked this one. And then I am also a incoming board chairman of an NGO focused on digital well-being. And then actually one of our work is we actually did a study. You can see that there have been mapped there. We actually make it a press release that you can see that they will make a big impact. So I want to talk about it. So AI in education and digital well-being. Oh, some may say that, oh, AI in education, I promote technology, but on the other end, you want people to use less technology, because we have a well-being, digital well-being. Are they conflicts with each other? Are they contradict to each other? I can tell you the answer is no. One of the reasons is like this. So before I move on, I would like to talk about what is AI first. Let it common ground, get common understanding. So you can Google it. You can get a lot of technical definition, but I don't like it. So for education, I would like to use 3 approaches. As long as you can tell us what technology is AI, fine. So you kind of know that what they can do, the capacity, which is very. The one thing is we got human-like, large search engine. They have AI already. They summarize for you. Many people actually don't look at the link. They just look at the summary that provided by the Geminis. So what they can do is like this. The last one is social. I think it's very important because AI have been there for 50 years already. So with generative AI, they actually become like human-like, and then allow everyone to interact with them. There are a lot of issues that we talk about: academic integrity, So we have to address it. So I think this is something that in my deep down, AI in education is there. So actually, I don't know about AI literacy, what you think about it. So a lot of studies talk about AI literacy. They have different kind of like definition. But for me, AI literacy is not something new. We have it already. But you can see that one of the definition I have is interdisciplinary. So AI is not computer sciences. I remember that when we have a curriculum, we invite people with arts background, some people with linguistic background, people with social science background, because they're all there. They have to come up with the idea what AI is. So you can see that. So AI literacy, we did Eddie, my student and I, we actually did a study. We will talk about what AI literacy means. So you can see the skill set is interdisciplinary, not just technology using AI, which is very different, like data literacy, mathematics. They have to understanding. You cannot say that, oh, I know AI, but without understanding probability, it doesn't work like that. So I think this is something that I would like to say a grant. So let's come to this the main this is a background. So AI, what AI is, and then AI literacy, what they are. They're interdisciplinary. So what does mean by AI in education? Myself, they change our educational I would say the perspective or idea. So myself is human-centric education is one of the key. So that's why I did a study talk about HCAP. I call human-centric AI framework. And actually, this is, if you read the paper, fundamental is drive from the AI literacy and competency. Later on, I will talk a little bit. I will say that traditionally, when we talk about AI in education, we talk about TPAC. And then myself is I will talk about it. TPAC is not enough. So let's move to the next one. Okay. So why I think that human-centric is very important. Not just me. Actually, many study, many international organizations talk about it. For example, the World Economic Forum talk about it. What is the core skill? You can see that there AI literacy, there's soft skill, mathematics and linguistics are some skills that we got out of focus. So in the traditional schooling, we think that languages, mathematics are very important, but you look at it, we got out of focus skill. So what we need is the top. What that means? Because you can see the core skill is what human is. So how you talk to each other is the same thing. I mean, LinkedIn CEO is the same thing. They talk about it. And then even though another study talk about what kind of skill, you can look at the skill here. Many of them are human-like. What new human mean? Most of them are like creative thinking, system thinking. It's all about this. But in our schooling, even when we talk about AI in education in school or in university, you focus on the content. Oh, what kind of content? What kind of solution you get? But actually, this shouldn't be our focus. We should focus on the human. So I think this is the background set why I want to share this topic with you guys. So I have also another paper talk about it. So we have, in education is very funny. K-12 or even the university, we focus on grades. We focus on a piece of paper, but we forget what education means. Which we got future ready. Are they ready to work? What are the soft skills? Can they actually talk to people? Are they able to, have some empathy? I think it's very important there. So it's all human-centric. My deep time is, as long as your students care about their learning, care about their future, they will use AI wisely, because they use AI to treat or to generate solution, to copy it, because they don't care. They just want to get the grade. And then at the end, actually, for education, have a very long-term impact. So I think that this is something in my heart. That's why I come up with this kind of framework. So actually, as I said before, I have a company called Future Lock. I co-founded. So we don't do traditional approach, not mathematics, not linguistic. We're actually doing soft skill. So I think that I want you to know that is aligned with what I've been doing it. So I want to start, before I introduce the framework, I want to start with some work that I've done it before. Actually, it's an alignment. So in 2021, we have COVID. So actually, I did on purpose. I did a study. To understand how digital support, how teachers support together. So you can see that actually, you cannot say that, I have the video, I have the MOOC, I can just use the digital resources to learn. Actually, it's not, because for kids, for students, for learner, unless they are mature, they are self-regulated learner, they can do it. But actually 80%, even 90%, they're not mature in terms of learning, because people want to do their own thing. Even though for work, for employee, for adult, they are the same. If the job doesn't don't I mean, if there are some tasks that is not aligned with their work, not with aligned with their job, they don't do it. So in that sense, that we need someone to moderate it, to do that. So what can we do is we call humans. Later we'll talk about it. So teacher, you can see, is a facilitator. Um, um, but in the AI era, because I think in 2021, at that time is a COVID, so AI wasn't big there. So what I will mean is, later on I will talk about human-centric pedagogy. What that means, that AI is with teacher, AI is with student. So they combine each other. So I think that they are not separate. So they work together. So I just want to give you a background. So I don't know if we load the first paper, that where are the educator. These papers got cited, I think 5,000, 4,000 in Google Scholar. And then I learned from that. So I actually will work with my student. We actually work another one, but looking this issue from a different perspective, which is motivation perspective, language perspective. So also get cited quite a lot. So what I mean is, even though we talk about AI, you talk about adaptive learning and system, talk about ITS, teacher, facilitator, educator, they still play a very important role there. So very important, I would say that. So to echo this one, so I don't know if you load this framework from UNESCO, the AI competency for teachers, and also for students. They actually have the number one. You can have a look, called human-centered mindset, human-centered education. What's that mean? Doesn't mean, even though we talk about AI competency, we talk about AI literacy, human is still who we are. It's still what we should focus on. I think it's the background. So you can see that I also sorting roadmap. If you talk about developing student AI competency, of course you have to prepare teachers. You have to have a pedagogy. So myself is to be human-centric approaches. So you can see that this is technology. You can see that at the back. So we think we have to start with human first. Technology, and then I've been wanting workshop, a lot of workshop for teachers. I can tell you, when some teacher ask me, what are the best tools for, can you recommend it? Can you recommend the best adaptive learning system, or can you recommend me some ITS, I said, I'm not going to recommend any, because if you are human, if you care about your teaching and learning, the worst tools still be effective tools. For me, I don't pay for LLM. I never pay for LLM. I use what CHQ provide. That's all the basic one. I don't need the best. I don't subscribe ChatGPT. People say the best. People say that Gemini is the best. I don't subscribe. I use the worst tools. But I'm an effective worker. I'm an effective scholar. What that means is, do we choose for the best AI tools? I would say no. Even though you have the best ITS or the best adaptive learning system, it's fun. It's fun. But I think that the final decision should make by the student or the teachers. I always use these two approaches to talk about it. I call appropriate and accurate. So maybe, the best LLM, they are very accurate. But usually for LLM, they provide you a list of recommendation, a list of comments. They may not be relevant to the learner. So, and also appropriate, and they are not appropriate to the learner. So I use double A, appropriate and accurate. Accurate doesn't mean that they are appropriate or relevant to their learner. So I think that at the end, student or teacher, the human have to make a decision. So I'll give you some example. There is a survey. So many students using AI for the language learning. So it is some descriptive statistics. Basically, many of them using it. I think if I do it again now, will be much higher, will be close to hundreds, I can tell you. But what they say, you can look at this one. So ask the student preferences. So when they learn about languages using AI, the green one, they prefer AI. So they prefer the AI to generate brainstorming, to do some grammar, tracking or pronunciation, sentence structure. But for something that they prefer teacher to do that, which is give some comment on the presentation skill and writing skill. I remember that the student told me that, oh, there are some platform I talk in front of the computer and then they give me some feedback. They said they don't like it because they said it's so cool and then like like the comment very generic. So there are a lot of issue there. So I think that you can see that people say that, oh, AI is the best. In language, they can give any feedback. Teacher doesn't have to do anything. I don't agree with that because what we think is when we talk about learning, education, student outcome is still what we should focus on. If the student think that AI is not enough, not relevant, not appropriate, I think teachers should step up. So you can see in the middle one is like 50-50. So this is something that you can see that. What that means, this one, in this case is mean that AI can work with teachers, AI can work with student, AI can work with both teacher and student. So you can see this diagrams like this. So what I mean, I give you another examples. In the traditional classroom without AI, so teacher are the best, are the one they are the knowledge provider. No one can challenge me when I say this formula is correct. It's correct. You cannot challenge me. But of course now not anymore because student may have LLM. They can challenge the teacher's authority. I think it's true. Even in higher education, I think that they can challenge you. Um, I think that the teacher are the task designer, they are the learning experience designer. Uh, so I think that there's something that I think the web one I put it there. What that mean that they actually with AI there are some role I would say more important. Some role are become less important. For example, knowledge provider, authority figure actually less important now. Don't think that you are the one that will give all the accurate answer. It's not like this. But I would say that teacher, some role, like for example, task designer, learning experience designer, they still very important because I don't think AI can do that because it's about implementation, it's about the adjustment. I think it's very important. For example, if you have ITS, the tutorial system, I think we have to think about what kind of experience that, I think that the AI or the teacher can work together to give it to the student. For student, there are nothing new. For students, self-regulator, reflective learner, knowledge constructor. I would say that in the traditional classroom, they are I would say they are very important, but most of the teaching, they don't focus on this. Most of them, they don't focus on reflective learner. They don't focus on, I don't see you have a self-regulated learner. I just see you as a receiver. Most of situations is like this. So what that means, this I highlight the web one in the student side is we have to bring them up. We have to, move up. You have to doing like this. So our pedagogy have to change. Our, all the system, learning system have to change. So and also I did some study in 2024. I found out that, how they see AI. So I using teacher support and also student activity. Teacher support mean that how much they put effort. Student expertise, that mean strong one, mean that better academic. Weak one mean less, uh, less good, I would say that. So you can see the AI is different. So you can see that if you want to read the paper, you can have a look. So I mean, I bring it up here. I want to talk about it. in a group of students or a group of user, a group of learner, they actually, the AI is different. The role is different. So, and then because of this, I just want you to see alignment. 2021, I do this. 2024, I do this. And then I think this one is 2005. 2005. 25, I forgot to cite it. I think it's in one of my journal paper. I forgot the references. But 2025. So I try to identify different role. So what they are with AI there, because you have someone can interact with. For example, for students, they should see AI as alternative intelligence provider. I got AI also, but just alternative intelligence, give you a different perspective. And now them to create video, images, poster. I got content creator. But AI to the student, their information inquirer, their suggestion receiver, something like this. Oh, what you suggest. So for student, for teacher and AI, the enabler and observer, I want to let you that teacher, later on, I will talk about one example, talk about enabler. For example, oh, I asked my student to provide some answer to my questions. I use AI to generate, to summarize the response of a student, and then they have a summary, and I use a summary to enable our discussion. So I got enabler. That means that use AI to generate some content or summarize some content that summarize was your student work for discussion, not for feedback, for your own discussion. Observer, you also can observe how students work with AI. And then again, here you can say the advisor, endorser, of course, because at the end, you understand your student better than AI. You are the one who make the final decision, even though you may not be only focused on content. And also, as I said before, the teacher cannot be the authority anymore. So we have to be a co-learner, co-designer, something like this. So I think this is something that in my heart, when I talk about AI in education, we should talk about who we are. What are the AI tools? What are their role? I mean, we have to see that, the role changing. I think it's very important that when to use it, where to use it. So I'm not going to talk about this one. This is from my book, much more intense. I don't have time to explain it. But the idea is we have different role when you use AI in different session. There are not only one role give you an answer. There are not one role just give you some idea, not like this. So it depends on how you see that. For example, give you an example. What are the role of textbook? You can say a lot of things. It's very similar. But if you are interested, you can go to this book. I discussed with that. I mean, a lot. So, and then I go back to the age gap that I want to talk about it. Because you can see that I find that human centric is very important. I try to understand what are the role of AI, teacher, and student. So what kind of knowledge or what kind of skill that we need? So when I look at TPAC, there are some limitation. Perks, of course, you can use TPAC for AI era because T is still AI. But again, they are enough. I would say that there's in some degree they are enough. But I want to expand it. I want to make it more AI focused. Because like for example, ethic, for example, for content validation, and actually they don't talk much in the TPAC. So we talk about it. Of course, TPAC, you can include, I mean, you can about T or AI. Yes, you can do that. But in I think we need some new idea. That's why I come up with I call HCAP. I call human-centric AI pedagogy. It's a new model, and actually, you can read the paper. Everything is driven by the AI literacy and competency, and the focus is human-centric. So AI just a server, just a waiters, help you out. That's all. It's not the everything is about AI content. When about industry, AI is the best. It's not like this. I think in education, we still have to care about who we are. So I would like to this is a Delphi study. So you can see I've done it in Hong Kong. I think if you are interested, you can have a look. But I want to talk about the 25 knowledge item that I got, and then I will share, discuss with you guys how they related to each other. But of course, the paper have more information. So for TK, we have to talk about home engineering, the limitation awareness. I think it's very important because, as I say before, AA, appropriate, appropriate and accurate. I think it's similar. Why do you have to ask for the best LLM? I don't think so. And also they have to audit the system. I remember that when I because I develop apps, so I talk to some client. And some kind very, 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 very smart. They ask you, what kind of LLM have you used? They go straight to the answer. They don't ask you, oh, how you do it. They go straight to the root. What kind of LLM you have been using it for your apps? How can you protect it? This kind of idea is very important. You shouldn't talk about all other things. Are they accurate? You have some kind of degree that what you talk about it. For example, if some provider say that I change LLM version all the time, it doesn't work because when you change a version in your root in the back end, and actually all the things that you've done, you have to revise it, test it again. So I think that it's not like you always go for the update that LLM. It's not like this. So I think that for student, for teacher, they have to understand this. And also the data is very important. You may ask, what kind of data have you used? For example, when you're learning L2 learner, I think the data should be from L2. You cannot from L1 learner because how mother language, mother, for example, native English speaker, how they learn is different from L2 learner. So you cannot use their languages. Maybe the way how engineer learn program is different the way how language student learn programming. So you cannot say that, oh, I'm using the same thing, make sense together. It's not like this because it's the fundamental. So I think that you can ask about it, and also the how they integrate, in your tools. Do you have a workflow? What kind of pedagogy are you doing it? Do you have policy? I think this is all about technology languages. I think this is something that they have to ask. And for the CK, we updated. We're to focus on the triangulation. So I don't know if you know that now LLM is very important. So if you say that, oh, give me a literature review, give me a citation, they will generate for you. If a good one, if a good user, they will double check every single one each time. Because for LLM, I don't ever know that when you give them a lot of tasks, they will get kind of mixed up. But you ask them to focus on one task, one tiny task, actually better, much better. So for source triangulation, you actually can use LLM, you double check it. You can do it like this. Bias, I'm not going to talk about it. Everyone know that. And also contextualization. So it's very important that the content that must be, because LLM has low freedom. You have to understand LLM have low freedom at all. They just generate anything. So they just generate anything. They don't really care. So for the teachers, for students, they have to verify it. Not accuracy. Are they actually relevant to their learning objective? So they can generate, for example, programming. They can generate some algorithm that not in your not related to your course. Are they important? Yes. Are they important for their life? But they are not important. They are not relevant to their course. So when talk about education, we have to be, umbrella, something like this. And also, I think that for disciplinary, it's the same thing. But I think that this is a CK. I still have 30 minutes, so I have to speed up a little bit. I'm sorry if you. I want to throw out something that the idea. I think in the paper I have a lot of examples using different subjects because you can see that. As I said before, the disciplinary, the teacher that I talk to, they're from different language, from different discipline. So the paper actually have more different kind of subject example. So for IPK, so we should focus on the reflective practices. I want to talk about this one. The app that I developed, I focus on chatbot, speaking, oral. not typing. I don't know that typing is not really a good reflective practices, because they nowadays, when you talk about reflective assignment, many students use generative AI to do that. Are they actually doing reflective activity? I kind of say no, because most of the students, they just want to finish it quickly. But for oral, which is different. So I think that we have to focus on this one when we talk about this one, because it's more about thinking. For example, when I present it, even though I'm very familiar with this framework, but for me, I have to think about what it is and then how can I say it. It's not like a type something and then give it to me. It's not like this. So effective practices for me, we should focus more on oral speaking. The assessment is very important. So I don't know about your assessment. Now, I would say that in my courses, I ask them to provide the poem, the dialogue. Later on, I will give you some example, also some assessment. So it's not just like essay. I changed my course outline already. I focus on speaking. I focus on the dialogue, the process. I give you some example. And also, we should scaffold the co-agency design, provide a step. Actually, I gave a talk already on this one. But I think personalized ethical concern, I think this is very important. If you're interested, you can look. I want to talk about this one because I think that CK, TK, PK, you can follow the TPAC, but just add more AI element there. But this one I call human AI collaboration knowledge is new. So what that means that the 15th one is the role allocation. So you can see that sometimes you are endorser, sometimes you're co-learner, sometimes you're enabler, sometimes you are observer. So you can see that even though you AI put it there, you may have a 60-minute lesson. You may change. The role, you're a lot teacher. You could be changing it a lot, depending on how you do that. So this is very important that we talk about the flow, designer. So you have different flow, because again, you have different role. Like for example, sometimes you're actress, sometimes you're server, sometimes you have the food, sometimes you are the plate. It could be like this. So you have to care what it is. And also, I think that it's very important, critical dialogue. For learning, we always talk about it's iterative. It's not a sequential. It's not like a linear. With AI, definitely. Like for example, if I ask them to do an essay, I always give one example. In the old day, traditional English classroom, the typical assignment is, oh, give me 500 words. Traditional one. What happened? Now with AI, 30 seconds, type, 500, give it to you. So it's not like this. You see, the student will see AI as a solution provider. So how can we change it? If you have a human AI collaboration knowledge, the teacher will be like this. Okay, my goal is 500, yes. So what we can do, okay, in my lesson, write 100 work first. Your own work, go home, use AI to get the feedback. Remember the feedback. Come back to the classroom. No AI, expand your assignment from 100 work to 300 work. Your homework assignment is use AI to get feedback. And come back here, finish the 500 work, done. So what that means is we call critical dialogue. I think that the guided learning is iterative. The feedback they get from the AI from the first time and second time may be different. So I think that's very important that I see AI as a feedback not a solution, because I asked them to do it after school. You come back here without AI, you are the one who are the creator, the student. So I think this is something that how you see what AI is, then change the way how you teach, your knowledge about that one. Of course, culture is also another thing that you have to understand that I'm an editor. I can tell you, I can very easily spot it's written by AI. When you have I don't know, the word they use, they definitely, it's cultural influences. And then, you can understand that ILE, we have 6,000 submissions a year. So do you think that I cannot see that? of course, I mean, kind of, you kind of scan it, you know that. So again, it's very important. And also 19, I also suggest that when you use AI in classes, use it in a group, not individually. One of the reasons is the students monitor each other. Human, this work is not singular, it's a plural. So if you put AI in a group, even though they say that, oh, you do your individual work, but you use one AI in a group of 3 or a group of 4, they take turn to use it. Again, they discuss, we call human AI collaboration. That means that you see AI as a teacher, as a professional, as a project facilitator inside the role to understand the idea. But if you say that it's an individual AI, for individual student, AI may be seen as a solution provider. But if we put it there, which is a little bit different, the AI in the group could be a moderator, could be a feedback provider. So I think it's very different. So I think that this is very important for ethical. I said 6 minutes. I have to speak up. So I'm not going to talk much because I think that is very important, but I want to focus on well-being. Again, with AI, they're everywhere. So we have to actually focus on preventing from over-reliances. I think it's very important there because if they rely on it, and then I would say that I don't know if they can get any skill. So, their future will become quite darker. I would say that. So I'll give you some example. Let me focus on, because I have a lot of example. So I like this one. I call IPK structure, the APSCE. So I think that is structure there. So if you understand the pedagogy, you structure it, and then I would say that the HAIC operator, is a driver. So myself is, you have to understand you are the driver. The operator, the car, structure the human AI collaboration. So I think I give you this example. I think this one is better. So I think this is very important here. So you can say one is structure, the other is execution. So in the old day that you may use structure, there are all AI, different role, but execution, actually, you have to be very specific. So because a number PK usually is a flow of a lesson, the strategy you use, but the human AI collaboration knowledge is about execution. When they use it, how they use it, I think that's very important. For example, oh, I'm document your um every lesson you have to give me the dialogue, the prompt that you use is execution. Do you understand what I mean? So one is structure, one is execution. But this is one example that I want to let you know that even I talk about the 5 domains, they are related. They are not separated. In a paper, actually, I talk all the index session. If you are interested, you can have a look. I don't think I have time to talk each of them. So there are some, but I think that there are some roles, how they related to each other. I'll give you some example, how I execute this idea. So what I do in my classes, I think that I ask a student, oh, you don't use AI, turn off your computer, generate your idea, and then now you have AI, and then you get the AI feedback, and then you revise your idea. So the idea, using AI to give feedback, revise it. What are the teachers? For teacher, because I have some theory, some model I want to use. Okay, this is the model. This is the theory. Please fit your idea, the real idea, into my model. So I don't give them model first. If I give model, what happens? Will be the answer. So I don't give them the model because at the end I forward this is a pedagogy, and then I see AI there as a feedback better. Myself is I'm the framework. You must use my framework. So to understand the idea like this, so it's a human center and also related to the course. So because I'm teaching a courses, all the things that we have been talking about must be related to my courses. So you can see this for the human-centric pedagogy, because It's not like I don't ban the AI. You're still using AI, but the flow is different. So I believe that human first. And also, I'm teacher. I'm not the authority content, but the theory is very simple. The model is very simple. I'm the authority. You have to fit into there. But I don't disclose it in the very beginning. I think it's very important like this. But the second one, I also do a lot of, I want to focus on formative assessment. So what I'm doing is, I have 13 lessons. Let's say student may finish their work in lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3. Each classes, they can use AI. We do a lot of different activities. But my final assignment, what I mean is, I don't ask them to do a lot of write an essay, long essay. I said, just give me 500 words, cite your original work. So what they do is, in this situation, the references is uh, the references is is the is their work, not the literature, not the literacy. So I think this is very important. I focus on their own work. So I think this is very important. And I said it before, I got formative teachings because I see AI is the role is summarize my student work. I also focus on formative assessment. I summarize it. Let's discuss what we have to do for the next lesson. And um, and also, I want to focus on self-regulated learning. One of the roles very important for students is self-regulated learner. So I don't know if you know this framework. So they actually talk about, 4 is pre-lesson, performance is during lesson, self-regulation after lesson. So I wrote a paper. You can go to the paper called Classification Tools to Forces SLL with Generative AI. So each of them have different activities. So you can see in 4 they should search information, get examples, ask for definition, performance, different stuff. I'm very specific. I have 20 of them for languages. I think now I have 50 of them for STEM. So the paper, I hope that it will come out soon. So what happened is, it's not about um, uh, the framework. So I use a matrix. What happened is, after 6 lessons, I said, this is the framework. You put it there, run it, using my prompt to run it. So they will analyze their dialogue, what they have to improve, what they have to do better. This student is very strong in 4 performance, but not in self-reflection, something like this. So what that means is, I use AI, teacher as an AI is a data analytic, to analyze their data. So you can see that they help them to improve their learning. So the role is data analytic because I have my own framework. But again, I want to skip this one because I think about time soon. But I want to talk about this one. So when we talk about ethics, very important. Some country ban it. They said they are not allowed to use AI. Personally, I think that is not a good approach because AI is everywhere. When you use, it's very funny now when you talk about Google Gemini, when people use Google to search for information, I have a study, 70 to 80% of the user, they don't read the link anymore. They trust the summary summarize, the summary that provided by the Gemini AI. So actually it's everywhere. Myself is, when you come to this one, what they have to do is, because human-centric, that means ethical awareness is very important. So I go back to they have to use AI, and also I have to collect data, and then also ask them to cite, human to cite it, and they always work in groups. And then I would say that we focus on the fairness and transparencies. So again, I think that's very important that it's very funny that I ask my student, collect data, and then they have to ask the participant to sign. And then they said they haven't done it before because they're all digital. They all use Google form to do that. I go back to the root, ask them to respect data. So I think that's very important because it's so easy to collect data using online form. But when they ask them to sign, which is a different issue, but it is an ethical issue. So I think that in education perspective, we actually have to execute this one. I want to I think using this slide to summarize what I've discussed, and then I would give you some time for discussion. So I actually wrote a paper in 2023. I talk about how AI carve our education. Actually, before the UNESCO framework, I have been talking about human-centered education already. They have to care about their learning because it's a very important. For give the student, when they use AI, they have no issue because they care about their study, they care about their learning, they care about their future. As long as they care, I can tell you, you don't have to uh, guide them. They are fine. But for students who doesn't who don't care about their learning, actually become an issue. So that's why we have to help them. And then reinforcement learning, the second character aisle. I think that will fit our the IT, the adaptive learning environment or ITS. And also the another thing we shouldn't miss is the self-regular learning. The assessment, we have to change it. I don't have time to talk about this one because you should all I can do it. And also we should focus on the future skill, what kind of skill that we need, and we should talk about transdisciplinary learning or interdisciplinary learning. I see AI in education as a alternative intelligence or assisted technology or advisory intelligence. I don't see it as AI if it in education. So my question to you is, will our student master AI or master by it? What education mean? I think it is time for us to promote human-centric education. Yes, it is what I want to share. Thank you very much. Yes, I think.
Okay, thank you so much, Prof, for the very insightful talk. Yes, I did learn, quite a number of things, like what you say, AI is interdisciplinary, changing our ideas and perceptions. And also, I like what you said, Prof. The worst tool can become a very effective tool, but it depends on how we educators actually use it. And AI also acts as an alternative intelligent provider. And also, Prof, you also, I like the way how you actually framed the TPAC because, when they came up with TPAC, there was no AI at that time, but now we have AI. So, like for TK technology knowledge, you actually added the I there, ITK, IPK, and ICK. So, I think it's very relevant looking into what's actually currently happening now. So, thank you very much, Prof. So I will go into the questions. We have two questions. The others, if you have questions, you can post it in the Q&A. So I have the first question from Phoebe Yap. Thank you, Prof. Chu, for the insightful sharing. Based on the HAICK, Human AI Collaboration Knowledge, can you please explain more on the dynamic role allocation? Does it mean the prompt provided to AI tools? Thank you.
Okay, there are two levels. One is what you talk about technology level. So if you have a ITS or if you have a adaptive learning system, and actually the app that I developed, they change role. So first is we call technology, I think technical perspective. So because you are AI, if you have a system, you actually can change it. Like for example, for LLM, generic LLM, if we ask them the question, they give you an answer. There are many ITS now, the chatbot, they don't give them an answer, they guide them. So they see them as a, how can I say, a facilitator, teacher, but it's too linear. So for learning, it's not
Yes.
like this. For example, for me, when I talk to my student, sometimes I give you an answer. Oh, you are struggling. I give you some guideline. If you're not struggling, you have to want to read it. The role, I think, is depend first in the technological level. You can do like this, change it.
Mhm.
But if you say that, oh, I'm talking about the classroom level, double pedagogy. So in some way that myself is because AI, the students are not used with AI, learning with AI.
Mhm.
There is most of them, 90% see AI as a solution provider, answer provider. 90, I would say 90% are very conservative, 95%.
But
So sometimes you can see the table that I give it to you, the classification tools. They actually
mhm.
ask them what they have to do. Is a like example provider, brainstorming provider, reflector. So again, do your lessons or your system, they actually guide them. AI is not to give you an answer. You can give them
Mhm.
a prompt,
Yeah.
for primary school, you have to give them a list of prompt. So when I work with primary school, I give it a list of prompts. So if you give an example, give something like this. So because they are you have to learn about the habit, the behavior. So you shake them. For undergraduate, which is a little bit different, because they are older. They say that TTS when you do like this, but then what I share with you, just now, change the way how they see AI, not a
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, we have to stop them from seeing this as a solution provider, because 95% something like this. So there are two levels. One is from the system perspective, you can do like this.
Mm-hmm.
Another one is for classroom, pedagogy. The teacher are the one, the human AI collaboration knowledge is execution, is how you execute it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hope that you understand. Yes, thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Prof, for answering the question. Next, I have another question. This is regarding the Delphi methodology. What type of Likert scale did you use to establish the 75% expert consensus?
I use binary. It's not like a scale. I think it's they agree or disagree. So I think it's for Delphi study, there are different type. Um,
Mhm.
I think what you do in like to work scale, usually develop a scale, but I'm not develop a scale. I'm developing
Mhm.
in a different kind of ideas. So usually what you talk about is a scale. Yes.
Okay.
So I use
Thank you very
binary. Yeah.
Okay, binary. Okay, thank you, Prof. Okay, the next question is from Ali Raza. He said, "Thank you, Professor, for the insightful and knowledgeable webinar. AI has become an integral part of our lives, especially in education and many other aspects of daily life. I have one question. Do you think it is necessary for universities and higher education institutions to update their academic policies regarding the use of AI? Should these policies clearly define how AI can be used ethically and appropriately in teaching, learning, and assessment?"
Thank you for this question. Actually, this morning I wrote an editorial talk about this one. So I don't know if you know that. Of course, yes, the answer. But I want to talk about one thing is they actually there are many policy come up. Well AI conferences from China, EU AI Act, UNESCO. Actually, they have been talk about it. But the
Mhm.
problem is, if you are interested, it will publish it on in next week that tutorial. If you are interested, you email me, I send it to you. So the problem is not like, so we do it. We have to do it. In my university, we have it already. But the problem is, are they actually can be executed? So ethic is not a black and white. There are something
Mhm.
that, work in this school may not in this school because of the value. So the problem is it's not about do we need it. We need it. We need to have a
Mhm.
policy. But people don't have it in school because they still don't know. The policy too strict or too loose, or can they actually do that? And it's about the execution, implementation. So for policymaker, because sometimes they don't want to, cause a chaos. So they have to
Yeah.
understand more, because if you don't, it's different. Policy, you have to understand the situation.
Mhm.
And AI in education is so fast. So I think it's very difficult to talk about it. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, Prof. Okay, I have the next question from Sorena. This is thank you for the talk, Dr. Chiu. I had this question while I was listening that maybe is a little off the scope. Given that current AI detectors can be unreliable and lead to false accusation, how do you recommend educators handle AI detection errors fairly and constructively?
Very simple. I think last week I gave a talk on assessment. Is addressing this issue because AI detector doesn't work. They don't work. So
Mhm.
we have to change the way how we assess our student learning. If we don't change it, you have to understand that AI come to this. I think that this era is try to reshape our education, try to change our pedagogy, try to develop our assessment. We have to change as a teachers, as an institution. There are many discussions talk about it. So it's not off scope. is still the same.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we come up with this human-centric AI pedagogy. So you cannot just say that I rely on tools, doing create AI apps to detect AI detectors. So they're like a circle. So what human mean? So I think it's very important. And actually, we have been talking about assessment, we have been talking about generic skill, we have been talking about 21st century skill, but to be direct, most of the institutions, they focus on grade. They focus on essay. They are, when about essay, can you remember the World Economic
Mm-hmm.
Forum on the out of focus skill is reading and writing. Many people, worker, they use AI to draft the report. Nothing wrong with that. But you have to make the decision, make some adjustment. So I think that is
Mm-hmm.
very important. It's a skill that they work. And actually, I've been talking about some assessment criteria, some outcome. We should have an outcome that students learn how to use AI to cook. Students
Mm-hmm.
use AI to draft something. So it's part of the skill. For example, in my student, they may say, I have to use AI to create video. So it's part of the, AI is part of it. So it's not like separate them, don't ban them to use it. It's not like that. So we have to change the way how we think about the outcome. We have to we think about what assessment mean. Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for the
Yes.
questions here.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Prof. Okay, next question from Hui Luan. How to enhance generative AI literacy and competency among higher education faculty to address the challenges and to meet the shift in higher education?
So first, in my university, we are 8 faculty. Each faculty, we have AI competency courses. So because competency is contextual, for example, for education faculty, you may say that they use AI to prepare the lesson. For nursing education, they may using AI, to measure the blood pressure, to verify the data, to generate the report. So each faculty, each career, they will use AI in some degree. So again, we actually, myself is the outcome should include AI, the use of AI in their career. And also another thing is we should focus on more project-based learning, have
Mm-hmm.
more interdisciplinary program. So in my university, we have interdisciplinary program called Learning Design and Technology, run by 3 faculty: sciences, engineering, education. I think we have been talking about interdisciplinary research. We have been talking about interdisciplinary education, but university is very old school. They don't change easily. So I think AI come here, tell you have to change. Otherwise, similar to the LinkedIn CEO, they said that, so do we need higher education? Many people say that. I was reading some news. I don't know if it is true or not. I haven't verified the content. Some news talk about Korean university. Many Korean prefer to go to technical college to learn
Mm-hmm.
about the skill, become a blue worker, because they think that the traditional university, the job will be replaced. So I think that for some career that definitely will be replaced. What they can do, higher education have to do something. Yes.
Yeah, I do agree, Prof. Thank you. Okay, Prof. I have another question from Sin. Thank you, Professor Chu. What consideration would you recommend for educators applying HCAP framework or AI in special needs classroom with students who have a wide range of learning profiles? Thank you.
So at first, I think this is not something new because, like for example, in Hong Kong, we call inclusive education. So in each class, they have some student with special needs. So it's kind of mixed. So in terms of the HCAP one, it's more about, because you can see that it's about the role. I go back to the role for students with SEN. Depend on their spectrum. There are some autistic, they're gifted, they are like ADHD. The AI role with will be different for this kind of thing. You, as a teacher, you can identify it because you don't see AI just a provided. Or another thing is, I don't even know that the app that I developed, and actually also for SCN, because we
Mhm.
try to, when you try to identify who needs some lead, special lead, I don't know the typing doesn't work. It's more about speaking. I think that is very important. The AI can help them to to boost their confidence, to identify who they are. So I think in the future, maybe if we have, I mean, at the moment, we don't have these apps. So in the future, maybe we have more, then we can actually do it. Yes. Thank you
Yeah.
very
Okay.
much.
Thank you very much. Okay, Prof, I have another last question from the chat box. Congratulations, Prof, for the very nice presentation. I would like to ask on the matters about ethics and educational equity. As AI becomes increasingly integrated into education, how can institutions ensure that AI enhances education equally rather than widening existing digital inequalities among students from different socioeconomic backgrounds, such as developing nations? Thank you.
So I would like to raise this, talk about this one. So when you talk about VR first, VR and AR, the student would kind of afford to buy the equipment. They're underdog. So the equity actually become wider. But with AI, to be direct, now Google Gemini, DeepSeek, and also, they're free. As long as they're internet, they can use it. It's very different from VR, AR games. They have to pay for that. And at some point that now there are many tools that AI, they actually very accessible. In terms of the accessibility, I think it's fun. They actually, for me, if you use it wisely, AI come here to level it, not widen it. But the problem is, it's a student, because I have something to talk about it. The student recursive knowledge, the student does self-regulated learning capacity. If they are weak, they are weaker. If they are strong, so
Yes.
myself, it would go back to, it's not about, because when about digital device, more likely talk about it as do they have the tools? Can they have it? But AI is not like this, because you have this, they have it already. So now the issue is we go back to the fundamental, the student itself, their knowledge. Actually go back to the school. So I got scaffolded design, the one item talk about it. So it's not when to use it. Are they ready to use it? So the question is, are they ready? Mean that do they have a knowledge to do this? Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Uh, okay. So I think there's another one question that just came in, maybe a quick one. Prof, you emphasized that both students and educators need AI literacy competency. In your opinion, what are the three most essential AI competency that teachers should develop first to effectively support student learning in the AI era? From Will James.
So first, if you look at, I published quite a lot. One is human-centric education, definitely. So you have to understand that human is still the one who make the final decision. The second one is AI for assessment, because in education, it's very funny. People will talk about assessment. So I think that using AI for assessment, self-reflected learning, or anything is fine. Another one is I call AI for prepare lesson. Or they're very important, because in the old day you cannot, like, for example, if you have to make a multiple choice test, it's so difficult. Now you ask them to draft it, you are the one make the final decision. It is quicker. So I think this is a free skill that we need. Yes. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much, Prof, for the very insightful and thought-provoking presentation. Yes, I believe all of us learned from you. Thank you so much for your time. And thank you, everyone, for your participation in our APSCE webinar series. And special thanks to Associate Professor Dr. Thomas Chiu for sharing, on this title, which is really in trend, that we actually need to know more on AI and how we can actually collaborate together with AI. So thank you very much, Prof. And dear participants, your feedback is important to us. So please submit your feedback by scanning the QR code provided. So thank you once again very much for everyone for joining us, especially to Dr. Thomas Chiu. Thank you very much.
Thank
So take care.
you. Take
Thank
care.
you. Yeah, and
Bye.
have a blessed weekend. Take care,
You
everyone.
too.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.